Let's talk to Hien. Hien is expecting you. I show you in. Yes. Hello, how you guys doing? I've been enjoying Doma. Judging by your triumphant expression, I take it all went well on Diaz instead. Indeed, we have secured a suitable source of energy for the barrier. Good, Tatir and I have commissioned Garland Irons to ensure that the field generators function as they should. A team of engineers stand ready to set out for the burn at the moment's notice. You need only say a word. I thank you for engaging their services on our behalf. The minutiae of the arrangement may leave to me. Which just leave the small matters of alliance. So Yugiri and Hakuro, how fared you of their neighbors? My lord, all of the factions reproached are in agreement that the Empire poses a threat. Many respond possibility to talk of an alliance. From Enganchi to Sui no Sato, however, receive outright rejections. The former will not break its treaty with the Empire, and the latter will not involve itself in conflict. This is expected then. Well, there is naught to be done about it. Let's focus on the rest to each of the nations that were admirable to our alliance, and I will personally send a missive. And once I have attended to that, I believe we will have done everything we can to fortify Doma's defense. For the time being, at least, all of which means may I leave for the meeting in Alamigo with a lighter heart. Yugiri Hakuro, it would be so kind as to hold the fort in my absence. My friends, we could not have achieved so much in so little time without your help. For that, I give you my heartfelt thanks. Until the meeting, then. Oh yeah, there's a meeting in Alamigo, alright? Took the liberty of asking Tancred to attend as well. He should have arrived at Alamigo Quarter right now. Then let us not keep him waiting, shall we? Sure, let's go. I'll say the kin, alright. I start to Tancred about the meeting. I heard there's a meeting. I told her young gay and Krillin. Krillin in particular was concerned about Afino. I assured her that everything that can be done is being done. She agreed to continue with her own tasks, for the time being, on the condition that I contact her the moment there is any development. So that leaves 4 to attend the council. Ironbolt is here to assist with the security incidentally, though the poor lad seems altogether too distracted for the task. Another one missing Afino, I expect. Oh, but it's almost time. As soon as you're ready, present yourself to the guardsmen at the palace entrance. I shan't be far behind. Ah, the silence is on. Welcome to Alamigo. The alliance leaders have already arrived. May I show you to the meeting chamber? Yes. Long cutscene, I'm ready.
Mistress Lys, Commander Aldin, it gives me great pleasure to formally welcome the city-state of Alamigo to the Eorzean Alliance.
The pleasure is ours, Your Grace. I know I speak for all Alamegans when I say that we are glad of this chance to stand with our comrades of the Alliance.
And we, for our part, are glad indeed to be able to welcome friends both old and new.
Lord Hien of Doma, at your service. Pray, accept my heartfelt thanks for your generous invitation.
Nay, 'tis we who must thank you for journeying so far. And 'twould be remiss of me not to acknowledge the part the Scions of the Seventh Dawn have played in bringing all of us together. In times of great unrest, you and yours have been our constant companions, without whom we would not be here.
With apologies to Lord Hien and Mistress Alize, it occurs to me that we have not gathered in this way since that fateful day in Uldar.
The day I lost my arm and my freedom. As I lay in my cell, never did I dream that I would one day be given the chance to represent my homeland at this council. I would not even be alive had you not plucked me from the jaws of death. You, Yugiri, and Alphino. Would that the lad could be with us.
I too owe my presence here to Alphino, in so many ways. Until such time as he returns, I mean to carry on his good work as best I can.
Come, friends. Let us leave the past in the past and turn our eyes to the future. My Lord Hien, pray, tell us how things stand in the East.
Having heard the rumors of dissent in Garlemald, I dared to dream of a peaceable solution.
The Empire will not so easily change its ways. If the Garleans have a mind to take back Doma and Alamigo, we'll be hard-pressed to stop them, even with the might of 6 nations. But while we lack the strength to fight the tide, a course may yet present itself, if we read the winds aright.
The winds suggest but one course to me. One which leads from the sea unto the river and thence to the source of all our woes.
The Ascians.
Indeed. All here have felt their blighted touch. It was the bringers of chaos who nurtured the Archbishop's tyrannical ambitions. They who bestowed upon him the secrets of summoning, as they have so many others before and since. And while they remain, we shall know no peace.
Our objective is clear. The question is how to achieve it. That our enemy parades about in Xenos' skin poses problems in itself, but ere we get to them, how are we to infiltrate the Empire and get close enough to strike?
While I see the wisdom in targeting the Ascians, an assassination attempt on Garlean soil would do little to aid our cause, even were it to succeed. It's time we used our enemy's preferred tactic. Subterfuge.
You have an idea?
Speak your mind, Master Thancred. None here know the enemy better than the Scions, and you mayhap best of all. Whatever it is you propose, we will give it fair hearing. On that you have my word.
Very well, Admiral. My proposal is thus. We dispatch the shinobi to Imperial territory. There, they sow the rumor that the Crown Prince perished in the battle for Alamigo, and that the man parading around is in fact a corpse inhabited by a servant of darkness.
Well, it does have the ring of truth about it. And were the Garleans to learn that their future ruler is a puppet, the Empire would be shaken to the core.
But at the risk of sounding stupid, would they actually believe such an unlikely story? I didn't.
Ordinarily not. But prior to his miraculous recovery, rumors of Xenos' death had already begun to circulate around the Empire. Ultimately, however, what the masses believe is not our chief concern. Our true objective is to create an opening for rival factions within Garlemald to exploit.
Just as a war of succession erupted in the wake of Emperor Solus's death.
A war which raged until but recently, plunging the Imperial House into disarray as nephew and uncle grappled for the throne. It is no coincidence that one of Varus's first acts as Emperor was to name Xenos heir apparent, family feuds being so tiresome when armies are involved. Not all welcomed his choice of successor, however. There is no shortage of individuals who aspire to the throne, who would jump at any chance to seize power. The news that Xenos is not only dead, but a puppet to diabolical forces would be too enticing to ignore.
The Empire would not be quick to recover from a second war of succession.
I am no stranger to infiltrating Imperial territory. With a team of operatives gathered from among the Alliance's finest, the plan should have a reasonable chance of success.
Doma already has shinobi in place throughout the provinces. We stand ready to act, and act we must. What say you all?
I'm for Master Thancred's proposal. We shine a light upon the Ascian and test the Empire's unity. 'Twas his plot that scuttled Doma's negotiations, was it not? Why then, if we can eliminate him, there may yet be a chance for peace. Let us wage this war of subterfuge, that we may one day lay down our arms. Gods know we never will while the Ascians remain.
That way. Sorrow. History must be changed.
Who is this?
Ahead looms a calamity. Ahead looms light, expunging all form and life. Twin dooms only you can forestall. Only you.
What's the matter?
There's a voice!
Spies in our midst?
Nay, I sense no such presence.
Let expanse contract. Eon become instant. Throw wide the gates that we may pass.
Is it over?
Master Thancred!
12 for Fend.
Bear him to a private chamber. Have every healer make ready. Swiftly!
Master Thancred remains in slumber. Though his vital signs appear stable, he's unresponsive.
What could have done this? And why just him and not the others?
I'm afraid we could not identify the cause, my lady. Our examinations revealed no wounds, nor the presence of any poisonous substances.
Gods, that only makes it worse. You're to let us know the moment there's any change, all right?
Thank you for coming. Knowing Thancred, he would apologize for being otherwise engaged at so crucial a juncture.
In gifting us a course of action, Thancred sowed the seed of all that is to follow. We have but to nurture it as best we can. To him, I would say, rest easy, that he may wake to enjoy the fruits of our labors. Now, the matter of the mysterious voice must not be forgotten. Will you tell me exactly what happened?
Alizé and I heard a voice in the moments before Thancred collapsed. It was accompanied by a severe headache, as if something were clutching at our minds. Did you experience the same thing?
So, in between the voice and the pain, you felt as if you were somewhere else entirely?
Your testimony confirms my suspicion. That which you experienced was, I believe, your soul being plucked from your flesh. Called.
Called?
I myself examined Thancred. Reach out as I may, I could not sense in him the spark of life that is his soul. That Thancred alone was stricken so is likely due to his heightened sensitivity to the effects of Aether, a consequence of his prior possession by the Ascian La Hebrea. The owner of the voice, whoever it may be, reached out to you, called your souls, and in so doing, caused you and yours such pain.
But if that's true, where exactly are we being called to?
I know not. Yet one thing is plain. Whoever waits for you on the other side is possessed of a power unlike any I have ever known.
Forgive us, Lys, but may we leave Thancred in your care for a time?
As if you had to ask. I may not be a scion anymore, but I'm no less a friend. Don't worry. I'll see to it that Thancred's well looked after. Just focus on solving this mystery, all right?
Thank you, Lys. As the Elder Seedseer says, 'tis no ordinary individual we are dealing with. Nor can we discount the possibility of Ascian involvement.
Whoever or whatever is behind this, the sooner we find out, the better.
To call your engine, his link broke. He didn't respond, but I dare to hope that he possesses some knowledge that we don't. Oh, RJ, something happened during the meeting. Tancred's collapsed with his embodied voice, and we started talking. But we should talk about this in person. Alright, we'll meet you there. RJ, he heard the voice too. In Tanalan? As we alone were afflicted at that meeting, I had my suspicion, but if the voice also spoke to Yerji, there can be little doubt the signs were targeted specifically. By whom, to what end is that question? One to which we must find an answer, with all possible state. Dear. Nice. Right, Alice is eager to rendezvous with Yurenji. Yurenji agreed to meet us at the Rising Stones. If any of the others heard the voice, we'll find out soon enough. Look, I should get back to the meeting with the Elder Seeds here. But if there's anything I can do anything at all, you must let me know, alright? Promise me.
Orianger! Gods, it's good to see you.
Would that our meeting were under happier circumstances. I judged the voice sufficient cause for concern even before you sent word of its effect on our comrade.
You heard it too, then?
Aye. And all but certainly at the selfsame instant. Alas, pained as I was, I could make little sense of what few words did then reach mine ears.
Who do you think is responsible? Could this be the Ascians doing?
That I cannot say. Not when so little is known. Ere I indulge in speculation, I would examine Thancred with mine own eyes.
To Alamigo, then, without further delay.
One other thing. During my visit to the Far East, I observed a strange phenomenon.
Thou referest, I presume, to the localized reduction in etheric density.
Well, that spares me the trouble of an explanation. Yes, I noted precisely that at two apparently unconnected locations. I take it the phenomenon is not limited to the Far East.
Indeed not. Of late, our agents charged with surveilling the beast tribes have spoken of little else. In every corner of the realm, they tell of places in which the ether hath grown thin. Naturally, my suspicions first turned to primal activity, but the areas thus affected betray no evidence of summoning. I must confess to being quite perplexed.
If the same phenomenon is being observed in multiple locations on opposite sides of the world, we may safely discount regional factors. Needless to say, this warrants further investigation.
Indeed, I shall make it my task to. The voice. It calleth to me once more.
I hear it too.
Only you. Only you.
No! Ishtola! Orianger!
Throw wide the gates.
What gates are you talking about? Tell me, what gates?
No. No, this can't be happening!
Oh shit.
Y'shtola! Orianger! Open your eyes! Open your eyes, I beg you! Say something! Anything! Not again. Please, not again.
My assumption is that it must be happening to Alphino as well, right? Forgive me, that was an unseemly display. It happened before your eyes, my lady. None here would have behaved indifferently. Reborn, the two of them, in the prior chamber. But tell me, is it true that Master Tancred languishes in a state like that in Amaligo? I'm afraid so, though given their circumstances, it would seem best to observe them together. Also, on word at least that she should be brought here. Take heart, my lady. The world is full of scholars and knowledgeable folks of every persuasion. Someone out there is bound to know what ails our comrades and how it may be cured. This will be roused to them no matter what. That we will. Hurry, that we will. But first things first, our comrades will have questions. May I ask that you explain the situation to them? I must attend to a private matter. I promise I'd visit someone and them tell him he's been waiting at Maelstrom Command for a while now. You know, you should come along too. I think he'd be glad to see you. Boy, this is getting scary, man. Like, we're hearing voices, things are happening. Like, I don't know what the heck all of this shit is, but things are going down. As your guest, it's Gabu. We've come to see the private here will bring us out to us. Ever since Maelstrom took him in, I've tried to visit as often as I can. And after what befell our friends, I was taken by the urge to visit again. It's difficult to explain. Where's Gabu then? Gabu. Alright, Gabu, I remember him.
Here he is, my lady.
Gabu, it's been too long.
I'm afraid there's been no change. If he can see or hear us, he has given no sign.
I see. I'm proud of you. We promised that we would come and visit you together, didn't we? Alphino and I. I'm sorry that we haven't managed that yet. You know, with the three of us like this, does it not remind you of that night? Of the stars beyond count twinkling in the heavens? I was feeling pretty low back then. Powerless. But I knew that my brother was close by if I needed him, and that the others would be waiting for me back at the Rising Stones. Not like now. I've seen my share of trouble since coming to Eorzea. Been reminded again and again of my limitations, of how little I can change about this world. And I've come to know the sorrow of parting all too well. But to have the people I hold dear struck down before my eyes, and be powerless to help them, that I cannot bear.
What should I choose? I don't know, man. I don't know. This is getting too hard. This is way too difficult. This is like the hardest thing ever. You don't have to bear this burden alone.
No, I don't. You're right. It's pure arrogance to imagine I can solve everything by myself. You'd think I'd have learned that by now. Thank you. I don't know what I'd do without you. Well, That's more than enough brooding for one day. Come on. We have friends to save.
Switch to Rising Stones and take it from there. Thanks again for agreeing to come. It meant a lot to me. Let's say the Rising Stones. Let's go back. Later, we would turn to our own experts on such matters, but they're both among stricken. Began by reaching out to the myriad guilds and research institution here in Eorza. Additionally, Grandfather and Benfilia had a wealth of connections between them. We need to explore those avenues too. We'll find a way to save everyone, mark my words. Much more has happened in recent days, some of it for the good, some not so, but all around me people continue their fight. From the shinobi who search for Alphino to the Alliance member who make ready to move against the Empire, they march on in the face of great adversity, bearing heavy burdens. Everyone is playing their part, and so I must try. You have your own part to play. I know, it's bigger than most, so I won't keep you. But promise that you'll visit from time to time.
The Populares no longer present an obstacle. Now is the time to bring the Empire's might to bear. A word from your Radiance is all it takes. But one word, and the Imperial army will fall upon Alamigo as a pack of bloodthirsty wolves and tear that feeble nation apart. Have you no words for me? Despite the lengths I go to, an emissary playing the part of a fool. When first I took this face, I swore to use all of my knowledge, all of my power, to further the cause of the Empire. My deeds stand testament to my commitment. And with this adamant flesh at my disposal, I could destroy the Icon Slayer as easily as one might swat a fly. Why do you hesitate? enemy is resourceful. Though victory is certain now, it will not remain so indefinitely. Deliberate if you must, but be quick about it. We'll speak again when you have unburdened yourself of doubt. Until then, I take my leave, Father.
I should be the one to sigh. I played my part to perfection. I had earned my rest, and then thanks to La Habrea's crowning act of idiocy, our favorite emissary sees fit to summon me back. Elidibus was ever a warrior. A most tiresome trait, would you not agree? Have you no words for me either? No matter. I've long grown weary of this mummery. Now, my dearest grandson, let me remind you of your place in the simplest of terms. You do not make judgments, you administer them. Swiftly and to the letter. Naught else is your concern. Elidibus may be an insufferable bore, but he is no fool. His choices as emissary seldom err. If aught threatens the balance twixt light and dark, it falls to you to remove it. Be it by your own hands or by your armies, you have ample means at your disposal. That is why this empire exists, why I built it. Oh dear, have I touched a nerve? You always were an easy one to read. I pity you, I do. As they say, ignorance is bliss. And I know how much happier you would be not knowing the things you know. The Founding Father was an Ascian, and he created the Empire solely for the purpose of sowing the seeds of chaos. Don't take it personally. I merely do my duty. To bring about a calamity requires no small amount of power, and there is no surer way to obtain such power than by collecting powerful pawns. To that end, I have labored long and hard, and I must say I am quite pleased with my handiwork, paltry though it seems in comparison to Alag.
You fiends are overfond of your own voices.
Ascian. Man is the master of his own destiny. Such a waste of time and energy. Both yours and mine. Lest you forget, you are Emperor now. If you wish to spout drivel about man's destiny, save it for the masses. It will serve to give them a sense of purpose, and you pliant pieces for the game. Oh, do stop sulking, boy. You, of all people, should understand. Ours is a struggle to restore both mankind and the world to their rightful state. Viewed thus, our goals are one and the same.
So Solus, the creator, the founder of the Empire, is actually an Ascian. That explains everything. So he's immortal. What in the world? Everyone just collapsed. What is happening? Dead, all dead, yet I see no wounds, nor any evidence of a battle. Damn them. You finally used it. The Empire developed an alchemical weapon in Garabania, a gas. Black Rose it was called. And to brief it is to brief your last. And that did this? Thought the project abandoned and its vile fruit destroyed, but naught else could have wrought such atrocity. Fools, what do they hope to gain from this butchery? Can they not see that a rule one true terror will not endure? How many more provinces must he lose? Nay, wait, this is not the work of a man, but monsters, the Ascians. It cannot be a coincidence that their trail led us here. The objective was never to rule, but to sow strife and discord. Such a crime does indeed bear the mark of the bringers of chaos. Black Rose can't be allowed to kill again. We must find the Ascians and put an end to their blood. Alphen always with the Garlean resistance, right? Fair enough, the Guardian, the Resistance. Nice. Soul searching. I'll say is at her wit's end.
I'm glad you've come, though I'm afraid there's little in the way of good news. After you left, we reached out to both the Alchemists Guild and Stillglade Fane and attempted all manner of treatments. But the results were always the same. Whatever the answer is, it's not alchemy or conjuring. Why did it have to be Y'shtola and Urianger and not me? Out of all of us, they are the ones who could feasibly have solved this puzzle. And Alphino's still missing. Gods, it's all going wrong. Where do we even start?
A grave situation indeed. Might I be of some assistance?
Oh, Kryl might help, though.
Kryl! I thought you were busy delving into the mysteries of Eureka.
When word reached me of the plight of our friends, I could not well stay away. As a fellow scion, not to mention your erstwhile mentor, this is one of those times you should feel free to call on me, regardless of my personal circumstances.
Yes, I should have thought of that. Thank you for coming, Kryl. We would welcome your insight.
And I should be happy to provide it. Now, what's this I hear about Alphino heading into Imperial territory? That boy always did have some funny ideas. Do you remember the speech he gave when he was accepted to the Studium?
My life's goal is naught less than the salvation of this star.
That particular grand pronouncement has been a source of great embarrassment to him, as you know. But the fact of the matter is, he meant every word and has lived his life accordingly.
Yes, he remains altruistic to a fault, but I'm worried he was too fixated on his goals to see the dangers, as has happened before.
You needn't be so concerned. Though his values remain the same, Alphino is not the blinkered boy he once was. Slowly but surely his eyes have been opened, thanks to a certain someone. A certain someone whom he'd be mortified to learn had heard about his little speech. Mum's the word, eh? Right, I'd better have a look at our patients. They're in the infirmary, I assume. I'll need absolute quiet, so it would be best if I did this alone. If you'll excuse me. All three are in fine physical health. At a glance, I would say they were merely sound asleep. Except for the fact that I couldn't sense the slightest trace of them in their bodies. It's as if their souls have taken leave of their physical forms.
Ah, yes. The Elder Seedseer made a similar observation.
I've read the report. When you heard this mysterious voice, you described feeling as if you were somewhere else, yes? If we assume the ether which comprises your essence is being drawn to some other place, then it may be possible to follow the trail it leaves behind, just as we did in our search for Thancred.
I wasn't around for that, but I can't imagine it was easy.
Oh, it wasn't. But that's no reason not to try.
I will have need of Master Matoya's crystal eye if I'm even to make the attempt. So I suggest we pay her a visit.
Alright. We go fast from Master Matoya's cave. Following Germania. Alright, let's go there then. Master Matoya was something of a recluse, but this seems extreme still. How can we overlook her eccentricities if she agrees to help us?
Come to disturb my peace again, have you? I hide myself away in a cave, and still you people insist on pestering me with your problems. Oh, I mistook you for young what's-his-name, but I see now you're the sister. Weren't you supposed to be the lively one? I've seen happier faces at a rain-sodden burial.
Well, I'm sorry to dash your expectations, but the situation isn't exactly conducive to gaiety.
Ha! That's more like it. Stoller used to spit and hiss like a wildcat too. Better for a young thing like you to be filled with fire and leave the doom and gloom to your elders. Now, what exactly does this tragic situation of yours have to do with me?
If I may, Master Matoya, we have need of your crystal eye once more.
And Stoller is one of the afflicted, is she? Very well. She may be an ungrateful stray, but she's my ungrateful stray, and I'll not see her buried before I am.
Right. Let us see what we can see. I'll begin from where our friends first fell, and cast my senses out from there.
What is it? Did you find them?
This doesn't make sense. How is it even possible?
How is what possible? Kryl, what did you see?
The threads, they just ended. And no, I didn't lose track of them. I followed them as far as they went. It's as if they were cut off.
Could their ether have dissipated if it had? Oh, gods! Their bodies are just husks. It's like the Broodmother's daughter all over again.
No, this is different. The Kalyana girl was already dead, body and soul, when Lakshmi effected her resurrection.
Aye, let's not jump to conclusions. If their physical forms yet breathe and show no signs of wasting, then it follows that their souls must still be intact somewhere.
But where?
That's the question, isn't it, girl? Death has not taken them to the ethereal sea, yet there are no tracks left for us to follow.
We're no closer to an answer than when we started. But knowing their souls are still out there is progress of a sort. We just have to keep looking. Pray, excuse me a moment. Yes? I remember, but... What, to Alamigo? We're on our way. That was Lise. Apparently, a group of Populares have defected to Alamigo, and Maxima, the envoy Alphino left with, is one of them. I'm sorry. I realize we've barely begun here, but...
Go, child, go! You've made up your mind, and life's too short for dithering.
I'll do some digging in the meantime and see if there isn't some other method we could use to continue the search.
Let's be off then.
Oh, not again. The enchantment barely seems to take these days. I chalk it up to old age, but I rather doubt it's that simple.
Before they took ill, Y'shtola and Urianger were sharing notes on a thinning of the Aether. It seems to be happening all over.
Does it now? And here I was, all set to blame my woes on that creaking mountain of refuse clogging up the Thaliac. I fear something has gone awry. Still, there's naught to be gained from starting at shadows. You can only do what can be done, and that but one thing at a time.
So that was the woman who tamed Y'shtola, and I had a distinct feeling of being grabbed by the scuffs of the neck, and having nonsense shaken out of me. Now that Finl's back, I'd like to visit again and ask her what tales she has of grandfather. Defector's tidings. The news from Alamigo has left Elise in a state of nervous excitement. Bear to hear what Maxima has to tell us. It can't be too bad news, can it? Lise would have said, unless there's no point speculating. Lise said she'd notify the guards that we're coming, so we should head straight to the palace. I'll be praying for good news. Learn what you can about Alphino's plight, and leave the search for our friends' lost souls to me. Greetings, John. The commander told me to expect you. Shall I show you in? Yes.
I'm sorry to drag you halfway across the realm, but when Maxima mentioned Alphino, I thought you'd want to hear the news in person.
Ah, we meet again. Though I was hoping our reunion would be under more auspicious circumstances.
What happened to my brother? Where is Alphino?
Never fear, my lady. Your brother was in fine health when I took my leave of him, and I have no reason to assume that has changed.
You assume?
If you will allow me, I shall endeavor to explain events. Our troubles began not long after we departed Doma. While crossing the burn, we were fired upon by the Emperor's personal guard and forced to make an emergency landing. As we stumbled from the wreckage, our attackers fell upon us again, and we would have perished there and then were it not for the intercession of a third party, a band of mercenaries whose leader claimed to pursue a vendetta against the Ascians. This Shadow Hunter, as he styled himself, then escorted us out of the wastes to relative safety. Upon arriving back in civilization, I gathered my Populares colleagues and prepared to flee the Empire. Master Alphino, however, declined the invitation to join us, preferring to continue his investigation into the Ascian threat.
Well, at least he's not lying in a heap in the burn. Tell us more about these Ascian hunters. Who are they? And is Alphino still with them?
He is. As to who they are, I'm afraid I have nothing to tell you. Beyond the fact that they root out and destroy Ascians, they were unwilling to divulge anything which might serve to identify them. They would not even reveal their next destination. But Master Alphino asked to accompany them all the same. Since parting company with your brother, we've been engaged in a game of cat and mouse with the Emperor's guard. We made our way through province after province, finding the army busy restoring order wherever we went, until we finally arrived here in Alamigo. I cannot thank Commander Aldin enough for giving us such an unexpectedly warm welcome.
I'm not inclined to turn away refugees, no matter which land they call home. And if they can tell me how things lie in Garlemald, all the better.
On that subject, there is much I would tell you. During the course of our journey, we heard tales that an entire rebel army had been slaughtered in the space of a single night. It would seem my former comrades grew tired of putting down uprisings in the conventional manner, and chose instead to bring a formidable new weapon to bear. Details were sparse, but the rumor alone was enough to dampen the flames of rebellion. I have also heard reports that several companies have withdrawn from their designated provinces and begun marching westward. It is my assessment that the Empire's forces are mobilizing for a large-scale military engagement.
Westward? You mean they're getting ready to invade Alamigo?
We knew this was coming, but not that it would be so soon.
We've barely even begun to shore up our defenses. They won't stop an invading army.
No, they won't. Dispatch messengers to the Alliance leadership requesting reinforcements, and send word to our officers in the field to hasten completion of those border fortifications. Prepare to meet the Imperials head-on! No matter how quickly we act, we still want for time. When the enemy comes into view, our best recourse will be to open negotiations with their commander, and see that the ensuing proceedings take as long as possible.
Would you and Alize head to Doma and let Lord Hier know about this? I'm sure he'll want to hear about Alphino too.
Consider it done. We'll send word when...
Untold sorrow must be changed. Ahead looms a calamity. Eon become instant. Throw wide the gates.
You heard... Well, at least we're both still standing.
Oh, thank the gods. I thought we'd lost you for a moment there. Why does this keep happening?
I wish I knew. Nothing we've tried has brought us any closer to an answer. We'll keep working on it. But first, we need to go and see Lord Hien.
Alphen was safe for the present, at least. Now all we need to worry about is a full-scale Imperial invasion. I'm actually glad these tasked us with visiting Lord Hien. Better to be dashing from place to place than sitting around stewing over things we can't change to the Enclave. Well, this has been pretty well. Yeah, let's go talk to Hien real quick. Ken Guardsman, I see you have tidings for Lord Hien. Can I show you in? Yes. Show me in. Hien. My friend was just discussing future endeavors with members of our newly formed alliance. Kojin, the Confederacy, you already know, and it was our own strength of arms that won us to cooperation with the steppe tribes. We also have joined by our neighbors from Naxia and the entire citizens of Damaska. Though the scattered nature of the latter's resistance will somewhat delay their official induction. These proud peoples have united under a single purpose to stand against the tyranny of the Garlean Empire. I'm glad to see our alliance is coming together so swiftly. As things stand, I fear we shall soon have need of your strength. Thank you for bringing news of Alphino. His fate is never far from my thoughts, and not only because he is our emissary, his sudden deployment of Imperial forces. I agree that Alamigo would be wise to shore up its borders with all haste. Every report received from our shinobi indicates a massing of troops in the western provinces. It seems all persuaded that the Empire is poised to bring its fist down upon Uriza. And I would help deflect that blow, but I cannot risk sending reinforcements just yet. We will remain vulnerable to airborne assault until our wall is in the burn is in place. The all-important Allegan energy barrier. The energy barrier, yes, I thought to call it something more auspicious. A name drawn from the four lords of the legend. Serious Aegis, or such and such. Well, just a thought. Serious Wall? The Aerospace engineer report that they have finished calibrating the generators and are ready to proceed at testing stage. Have you time to attend the first test? You've seen the field which protected us as law firsthand, and I would be interested to hear how you think ours compares. Sure. I will come to you if you don't mind. Although I'm no Stola, I may be able to offer some insight. Of course, time being of the essence, it would be best if we made directly for the burn. You agree? I leave you in Hekro to bring the War Council to a close. Understood. Your mounts are saddled and ready, my lord. Where are the storms? Defector's tidings. to see the energy barrier in action. We will cross the burn by Yola and Falcon as before. Join me in that overlook near the House of the Fierce. Yes. Give the word when you are ready to take wing. Yes.
It seems the engineers have matters well in hand. Should the barrier work as we intend, Doma will be free to reinforce her allies in Alamigo without fear of weakening her own borders. Honored friends, the time has come to put your hard work to the test. Start the generator.
Node 1 is operational. Nodes 2 to 8 are reporting similar energy levels. The barrier is forming. $1,000 yards, 2,000, 3,000. Expansion remains smooth. No fluctuations detected. Altitude reached. The barrier is holding steady at 5,000 yards. We've done it!
Is that an Imperial airship? Of all the rotten timing.
But this is a gift, Mistress Alize. They can test our new wall for us. Seems solid enough, though I was hoping for a fireball.
By the gods, it's Alphino. What are you? Let me go! He has my brother!
Lower the barrier!
Be at ease, girl. The lad is not dead, merely locked in slumber.
No, not him too.
We could identify no cause and found no remedy. Thus I sought to return him to Doma, and into the arms of Lord Hien himself, it would seem. It is a day for fated reunions. Would you not agree, adventurer? Or should I address you as the Warrior of Light?
Wait, is that Gaius? Are you kidding me? Wait, the Black Wolf? Gaius Van Balsar?
Aye, Gaius Van Balsar, the Black Wolf. That was the title I was given, one I have long since relinquished. Stand down. The legatus of the 14th Imperial Legion died in Castrum Meridianum. I am no more than Gaius Balsar, a man without rank or allegiance.
Impossible! There's no way you could have survived!
Do you remember how it unfolded? How I was deceived by La Habrea? How I was convinced that reviving the Ultima weapon would allow me to bring peace to Eorzea? The Ascian used me, as he used so many others, all to further the restoration of his wretched god. Yet even with the might of Alec at my command, you bested me. And as the Praetorium went up in flames, I was content to burn along with it. For a moment at least. A moment of folly. To surrender my life thus would have been to betray all who died for my cause. It was for them that I dragged myself free of the rubble, and swore vengeance on the Ascians. The Black Wolf has shed his pelt, never to return to Garlemald or her legions. I live now only to exact revenge. My principal quarry was to be La Habrea, whom I gather you have since ushered onto oblivion. But so many more remain. Long as their kind lurked in the shadows, laboring to sow chaos throughout our world, I would see each and every one dragged into the light and put to the sword. Are the Scions not of like mind?
In this single respect, perhaps.
Then I shall continue the partnership the boy began, and share what intelligence I have acquired. Among the Ascians, the Black-Masked Ilk are subordinate to those who wear red. This you already know. Yet among the Red there exists a hierarchy. Those set adrift with the shards clearly stand below those still joined to the source. Nabriales, who once dared to intrude upon the Rising Stones, belonged to the former group, and while he was indeed a dangerous foe, his powers were inconsequential next to the paragons of the source. The first was La Habrea, who plagues us no more. There is also the white-robed Elidibus, and the elusive Emmett Selk, about whom little is known.
We have files on La Habrea and Elidibus, but I believe this Emmett Selk is new to us? As I assume my brother told you, we have evidence to suggest that an Ascian now walks in the body of the Crown Prince. Have you identified this interloper?
Elidibus seems the most likely culprit. As emissary, it is his role to maintain the equilibrium between darkness and light. Your many deeds in Hydaelyn's name have upset the balance, and I believe he seeks to restore it by throwing his considerable power behind the Empire. As a leader of the Ascians, He is one of our primary targets. It was on the trail of this very prey that the boy and I came across the scene of a failed uprising. In the absence of a single Garlean casualty, we inspected the bodies of the rebels, and the lack of any external injury drew my immediate attention. They had been slain by Black Rose, an alchemical invention of the Imperial Army. When I yet served as legatus, I ordered its production halted, and all stockpiles destroyed. Toxic gas is not a tool of conquest, but of extermination.
Toxic gas? This must be the new weapon Maxima warned us about. Something deadly enough to sweep away all resistance in a matter of hours. Gods. You don't think they're planning to use this in Alamigo, do you?
Put your fears to rest. We infiltrated the production facility and destroyed all existing stores of the chemical along with the plant itself. Even should they rebuild the operation, they will not soon manufacture another batch. Regardless, I would draw your attention to a directive we discovered in the plant's records. The document was marked with a recent date and authorized with the signature of one Zeno Galvus.
A dead man signing the death warrant for thousands. 'Tis bad comedy.
But the tale does not end there. Within that same facility was a chamber filled with devices of elegant design. Cloning technology, we realized. And what should we find in each and every incubator? But a young Emperor Solus. All of which prompts the question, were the Ascians responsible for these abominations, or was it the will of the Emperor? I must know which hand guides the Empire. Though I have given up my rank, I am yet a son of Garlemald, and I will fight for the future of my homeland. It is time I return to the hunting of shadows. We should focus on our common foe. To reopen old quarrels now would serve no purpose.
You saved my brother's life, so I'm willing to let sleeping dogs lie. But in truth, it's not my decision to make.
Right, there's more important things at hand.
There was a time when I scorned those who placed their faith in false gods, even as I, in my blinkered conviction, place mine in Ascian promises. Unlike yours, my strength of will and my restraint was found wanting. We shall meet again, warrior of light.
Okay, Gaius von Balsar is pretty cool now. And he's a gunbreaker as well. Isn't that the gunbreaker class? Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So that was the infamous Black Wolf. An unexpected ally, to say the least. Well, I am content to leave the fine-tuning of the barrier to cleverer minds. Let us bid our friends from the Ironworks farewell, and see what can be done for Alphino back in Dorma.
Bye-bye, Gaius. I wonder what the heck is going to happen in Shadowbringers. I'm not even in Shadowbringers yet. This feels pretty awesome. I wonder what's going to happen in Shadowbringers at this point. Alphino safely escorted in his pressure. I'm fine to see they're examining him as we speak. Woken to physician, and there are no outward signs of illness. Alphino is lost in sleep, from which he cannot be awoken just like the others. It seems that even the lands of Empire were not far enough away to escape that cursed voice. Share your frustration. I do. Alphino is returned to us alive, and otherwise unarmed. All that remains is to find the means to wake him. Until then, you can but fulfill your duties as a scion. Yours and your brothers both. You're right, of course. There are arrangements to be made, and little time to make them. Since then, my lord, now that we know Sirius Wall works as intended, can we expect reinforcements for Alamigo? We most certainly can. As promised, we will send troops to bolster our allies in Marza without delay. Pray be aware, however, that they will not arrive without delay, save for some few who boast teleportation magics. The bulk of our force must be transported by sea, a lengthy voyage for which the smaller vessels favored by Confederacy are ill-equipped. Accordingly, I mean to enlist assistance of the East Eldar Trading Company in finding suitable ships. As for navigation for distance in question, we are but a happy position. Alright, let's do this. On the procurement of ships, I think it unlikely that Artistargo and our friends will consent to any involvement in military operations, but I'm certain they will afford Alphino berth aboard one of their vessels. I shall have a charge and accompany him every element of the way to the Rising Stones. You have my thanks, Lord Ian. I will go on ahead with our friends to Alamigo. Enlist all of those capable of teleportation, put them at the disposal of the Orison Alliance. As soon as possible, they will form the vanguard. Yes, my lord. This is exactly what we'd hoped for. These Alliance leaders will be glad indeed to welcome the combined strength of the East. That's the chemical plant. Oh shit.
Our supplies at Black Rose have been ruined, but the new plant is already under construction. We should have the first batch ready in time for the offensive, Your Radiance. See that you do.
Ah, yes, the infamous Black Rose. If I recall correctly, Gaius did not much care for the invention. A ruthless and indiscriminate weapon indeed, this airborne poison. It seems you are capable of making decisions worthy of your bloodline.
With no gift for sorcery, we Garleans must look to Magitech to even the odds. If it spares the needless deaths of our soldiers and serves the cause of this empire, there is no method I would not employ.
How very noble of you. Truly, though, I must commend you for embracing your role as Emperor. You play the part of the determined ruler well. Sometimes even I catch myself believing. A silent agent of death. Now that I think on it, Black Rose may well possess the perfect aspect. Slowly but surely, the deluge of light has worked upon the ether here in the source, and the gas should be most susceptible to its influence. Well, I shall leave you to your own devices. Go forth and bloody the land with your grand and glorious war.
While you do what, precisely?
Need you ask? I will be doing what all Ascians do.
I am well aware that your kind exists only to usher in the next calamity. But you seem oblivious to the harm your singular agenda causes to the Empire. You cannot have forgotten the events which followed your mortal demise. Our homeland was plunged into civil war for your failure to name a successor. The edifice you so carefully constructed was but a hair's breadth from collapse.
Are you truly so naive? You thought me oblivious to the consequences of a departure so painstakingly timed?
It was by design?
Well, of course it was. Though I will admit the resulting panic exceeded even my wildest expectations. But how can you be surprised? Throwing the world into disarray was the very purpose for which this nation was, as you say, so carefully constructed. Now, if you have no further questions, I must be on my way. Since we may not meet again in this lifetime, it would be remiss of me not to offer a word or two of gratitude. I really must thank you for this surplus of vessels. I can mold any host into my own image, but having bodies tailor-made for me in this fashion is so much less tiresome. You dabbled in Allagan cloning techniques, yes? It certainly is a compelling, not to mention entertaining, field of research. And of all the options available, you chose the Founding Father on whom to experiment. You have a twisted streak to you, Varus, like grandsire, like grandson, hey? If events play out as planned, this will become something of a family enterprise. You will be the capstone of this world, I the anchor and shard, and together we will give the lie to this star's fraudulent existence.
Okay, Soldos is crazy, man. What's the next quest? Parlay on the front lines. Are we gonna parlay? Oh, that's gonna be fun. So next time, we're gonna be parlaying on the front lines. I'm gonna stop it here for the day. It's been pretty long. A lot of things happened. We're gonna have to fight the Empire again. Crazy stuff are happening. It's getting crazy. People are freaking just falling out of thin air. It's like, what? People are disappearing out of thin air. It's kind of crazy. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time.